Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today we are going to proceed to chapter 2, the field of records management. So previously we have completed chapter 1 and we have learned about the definition of terms in records management in records. Okay, so let's recap. We have learned about the definition of data, information, document, and also the record of the definition of records, and also archive and archival repository. And then you need to know there are two types of record, whether it is a public record or a private record. Next one, in order for records to become an evidence, they need to have these four characteristics. So these characteristics are permanence, unique, authentic, and also have the value as official source of information. So today we are going to proceed to chapter 2, the field of records management. So in the end of this lesson, you are able to explain the life cycle of records, and then you're able to differentiate each phase of records activity, and lastly is you're able to apply the records management in the real life situation. So in chapter 2 we are going to learn 2.1, which is the overview of records management, and then 2.2 value of records. 2.3 is the records life cycle concept, and lastly is records accessibility. So, for chapter 2, we are going to have two videos, video chapter 1, chapter 2 part 1 and chapter 2 part 2. Okay, so for today, chapter 1 and chapter 2 part 1, we are going only to cover overview of records management. So now, what is overview of records management? So let's take a look what is a records management. So in records management, we are going to learn about the definition of the records. Okay, we have learned about this one, the definition of records itself, the filing and retrieval, the records control, why organization keeps record, and lastly is why records need to be managed. Okay, so let's proceed one by one. Okay, so records are vital evidence in daily basis for individual as well as organization which run the business. Okay, so records are vital evidence for individual for daily basis. For example, you yourself, your vital evidence for your daily basis is your national identity card number. That is your vital evidence as well as your birth certificate. It's very vital. Okay. And then another example, the vital evidence for an organization, for example, is the records as a student at UiTM Terengganu. So the records as employee at your organization, whether your organization is a big organization or a small organization. And then records as savers at Maybank, CMB, or Bank Islam. And lastly is your record as a Malaysian citizenship. So this is very important for you to have your national identity card, okay, your IC. Next one. So people actually may tolerate misplacing a few items in their personal life. Okay, the same thing goes to you. Sometimes you misplace certain file or certain small item, but you still can tolerate. However, but it is very intolerant of office worker who misplace, lost or accidentally destroy records. Why? Because when you accidentally destroy the record, misplace or lost the record, this will affect the business, the operation, daily operation of that organization. So it's very important for you to handle, to store, to file, and to retrieve the records in organization. Okay. And another information that in organization, failure to locate records can be costly. So, for this one, the example is a bank may handle 500 or more depositors' signature card. Okay, If you fail to locate this one, this will affect to that bank. And then an air freight company may generate 150,000 shipping orders a month. And then insurance company may process over 1 million policies. And lastly is hospital may maintain medical history on 5,000 or more patient admissions a year. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example of a clinic. Okay, some of the clinic, they are still using the records manual, the records file manually. Okay, when you go to certain clinic, they will ask you the 4 IC number, the last 4 digit IC number, and then they will retrieve, okay, your record on the vertical storage. Okay, so this will take a while, especially when you are urgency to get the medical assistant. Okay, you want to get the help. Okay, and then certain clinic they are using the database. You just give them your IC number and then they can retrieve your information and your medical history in that clinic. Okay, sometimes we went to city clinic only once. Okay, so just imagine how many medical history a city clinic have, especially those clinics that are using the manual storage, especially on the vertical storage. Okay, so working in this organization are responsible for processing and maintaining these important records so that they are not lost, misplaced, or accidentally destroyed. Okay. As the volume of record, volume is a number, okay? The volume of records stored in organization are increasing. So the record management is complicated by different kinds of record. Okay, common to all organization. They need to store and protect records and to find them when they are needed. Okay, so this one is the same thing for you as individual. So for this semester, you have six subject, and then if you kind of person who have a profiling, maybe you have six different file of this six subject that you take for this semester. Okay, and then when you're going to use that one, especially when you have that certain code for class in that morning, so easy for you to retrieve the file. Compared when you put all the notes or the information in one file, okay, or in the physical file or in the soft copy in your laptop. So when you are going to retrieve that one, it will take a while for you to retrieve that document. Okay. Okay, you can take a look on this one. Okay, so help. Yes, because when too much, you're not having a proper filing, so it's very difficult for you to retrieve that document, especially when you have urgency to use the record. Okay, so these are another familiar types of office record: letters and memo, the card, maybe the invitation card. Okay, from your department, the same department, or from another organization. The blueprints and map. Blueprints is the organization, what we call design. Okay, the reports, inventory and price list, purchase order, and lastly is the shipping receipt. Okay, so now let's recap again. What is the definition of records? So records are recorded information, regardless of media or characteristic, created or received and used in the operation of organization. So, in some organization, the records responsibility is called records management, also called document management, records and information management. So, what is the definition of records management? Records management is actually the systematic control of all records from creation or receipt through their processing, distribution, organization, storage, and retrieval to their ultimate disposition. So, when you take a look on the definition of records management, it involves the life cycle, record life cycle concept. Okay, next one, records manager. So the records manager is actually the person who is responsible for records management program. So the records management professional have the ultimate responsibility for establishing records policies and procedures. Okay, next one, Everyone in the organization uh, need to have a basic understanding of records control. Okay, I'm going to browse. Okay, about the apa what we call Arkib Negara. Okay, for this one. Okay. Okay, next one, we're going to proceed to the what we call the goals of records management. Okay, so what are the goals of records management? Okay, the first one is to create the right information and records, and then to make records available for the right individuals. And next one is to ensure records are available at the right times and at the right places, to ensure records are managed efficiently at low cost, and then to ensure the right records are used in making decisions, and lastly is to ensure records with value are transferred to the archive and those without value are eliminated. Okay, so we are going to proceed the records management program. So in records management program, you need to know the basic element of records management, the programs for managing record, the problems in record system, the carriers in record management, the ARMA International. Okay, so these are that we are going to learn in records management program. The first one, what are the basic elements of records management program? Okay, there are 5 basic elements of records management programs, and there are mail operations, classification operation, files operation, use storage retrieval and circulation operation, and lastly is disposition operations. Okay, when you take a look on the basic elements of records management program, the keywords is operations. Okay. Next one. What are the programs for managing record? In order for you to have a program to manage the record, you need to have a well-defined goals understood by all workers. It must be simple, sound organizational plan, and then it must be efficient procedures for managing each of the 5 stages of the record life cycle. So we are going to learn about the record life cycle in 2.3, and then you need to have a well-trained staff. And then in record system, yes, of course, you're going to face the problems in record system. So there are 6 problems in record system. The first one is the management. Okay, usually you must have the problem record system, especially from your top management, from your supervisor. Okay, and then the human problem is from you yourself. Maybe you make mistake, you misplace, you lost the records, or you accidentally destroy the record. Inefficient filing procedure. Maybe you are not using the efficient filing procedure. Okay, when you have an efficient filing procedure, it's easy for you to retrieve the document. Okay, and then the poor use of equipment. You have the equipment, but you are not properly or wisely use the equipment. Inefficient use of space. Maybe you use a lot of space for the storage of the records. Okay, and then lastly is excessive record cost is the cost that incur when you are not maintain your record wisely. Okay, next one. I'm still under the records management program. So, what are the careers in record management? So, the opportunity is to be the opportunities are in every type and size of office has record, whether it is a public record, a public organization, or a private organization, profit or non-profit organization. Each of these organizations they need to have their own records. Okay, and then the position, another example is the position records managers, records supervisors, and the records clerk. Okay, so these are the person who are responsible to handle the records management in that organization. Okay, whether it is a big organization, a large organization or small organization. There must be a certain person who are responsible to handle that record. Okay, so this is another example of typical job levels and job title. Okay, next one, ARMA International. In Malaysia, we have Jabatan Akib Negara for us to refer in order to have a proper filing for especially for public sector. But for international, we are referring to ARMA International. So ARMA International is Association of Records Managers and Administrators Incorporation. So there are two functions of ARMA. The first one is to improve educational programs in schools and industry. And the second one is to provide on-the-job knowledge about records and information management. So these are the two functions of ARMA. Okay, so now we are going to proceed about the filing and retrieval. When you have a record, you need to file the record. So how you are going to file the record, it will based on that type of record. So the word retrieval is when you want to retrieve the document or the records that you have been filed. Okay, so filing is actually the action of arranging in predetermined sequence, and retrieval is the process of finding records or information. The next term is a records control. So records control is a set of procedures used to make filing and retrieval reliable and systematic process. Now we are going to continue on why organizations keeps record. So organization is actually they depend on records for their daily operations because they provide the memory of what happened in the past. Okay. So in order for you to keep operating, you need to have the records, whether it is the past record, in the future records or the current records. So records are kept and used because they have some purposes such as, okay, so the organization keeps record because of the administrative value, because of the fiscal value, legal value, and also the historical value. So when people ask you about the question, why organization keeps record, the organization keeps record because of administrative value, fiscal value, legal value, and also the historical value. Okay, so now we are going to go in detail what are these value. So the first one is administrative value. Administrative value usually used in daily operations of department or office. For example, the policy, the procedure manuals, and also the correspondent. Okay, and then number two, organization keep records because of the fiscal value. Okay, fiscal value is the financial records. For example, the invoice, monthly and annual financial statement. And then why organization keeps record? Organization keeps record because of the legal value. Legal value is a proof of business transaction such as contracts, financial agreement. Okay. And lastly, organization keeps records because of the historical value. So historical value is actually evidence of organization accomplishment. For accomplishment, so permanently and most protected storage area. So example of historical value is the minutes of meetings and article of incorporation. So the last one in chapter 2 part 1, we are going to cover why records need to be managed. Previously, we have learned about why organization keeps record. Okay, and then this one is why records need to be managed. Why we need to manage this record. Okay, so the records need to be managed in order to, the first one is to reduce the volume of records. Okay, when you have a lot of records, you don't keep every records. Okay, maybe some certain record is not do not have any more value and can be disposed. So that's why you need to manage your records so that you can reduce the volume of the records. Next one is improve storage and retrieval system. The third one is increase efficiency of records processing. Number four is to identify and protect vital records. Next one is to meet the legal requirements. And then why records need to be managed in order for you to protect the organization, the customers, personnel and stockholders. This one is especially you need to protect the customers such as the banking services, the university. Yes, you need to protect the records of these your customers. And then you need to manage records need to be managed because to improve productivity, cut costs and to improve costs. Okay. So that's it for now, chapter 2, part 1. So we are going to continue in chapter 2, part 2 for 2.3, 2.2, 2.3, and 2.4. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you so much.